Hey beautiful people, it's Call Me Kay here and welcome back to my channel. I say back because yes baby, this is the second video. We done made it to number 2. I have lemonade in my cup. Yes, I'm drinking lemonade. It's not tea in a coffee mug, just because I feel like I want to have a good conversation with you, and usually you're drinking tea or coffee and like getting a good conversation. I just wanted lemonade. Anyways, cheers, grab a drink, sit down and listen up. Okay, in my last video, I talked about having a high-risk pregnancy with my first child. And I said, you know, this is for another video. We'll talk about it later. I'll tell you, this is that video, okay? I had intrauterine growth restriction, also known as IUGR, during my first pregnancy, and it was a whole whirlwind. So IUGR, my definition or explanation, basically means that something is preventing your baby from growing at a normal growth rate while in the womb. So for me, my baby was not growing normally because of the placenta. But we did not find out that there was an unhealthy, or what the doctor said, funky placenta until about like 20 weeks. That's when we really knew something was wrong. But let me rewind the story. I'll share with you how we found out, how we coped with it, how I say we, my husband and I, and my family, and myself. And then I'll talk to you about my healthy, beautiful baby, because this is a bright, shining story. That silver lining at the end of the tunnel was my baby made it. I know some babies don't, but my baby did, so let's get into it. Okay, we did not know my baby was small till 20 weeks. At 13 weeks, so all this time we knew it was like a normal pregnancy. At 13 weeks, I went for the doctor visit where you go see a high-risk doctor and they check, like, I think they measure like the back of the baby's necks and the neck, and they do some things to see if the baby has Down syndrome. At that visit, the doctor was like, how are you guys counting? Like, maybe we're off here on the count, but the baby's measuring a little small, so I think we're like a week or 2 off. I'm gonna push your due date back a week. And that was it. So the baby didn't test for anything abnormal. It was just that he did seem a little small at that appointment, but at that point there was no sign telling us that we should think any differently or be aware of any type of syndrome or anything. It was just that maybe we're off by a week or 2, your due date maybe is a little further out, and that's that. So he pushed my due date back a week. I was due at the very last day of September, I believe. I was due. And so, you know, I didn't think anything of it. I left that appointment. You know, once I got to my regular OB doctor appointment, she was like, okay, we're gonna push it back. Baby's a little small, nothing to worry about. That was at 13 weeks. Now fast forward 7 weeks later, I had taken some California, because I do live in the state of California. I'd taken a California screening, some type of genetic blood test that you do while you're pregnant. You can opt in to take all these different just screenings. And this particular genetic screening had come back abnormal. So now it's like, okay, is there something wrong with our baby? So we met with a genetic specialist and a high-risk doctor for this visit to determine what was wrong. So we go through all the different genetic possibilities in this disorder that could potentially occur with our child, and, you know, whatever the case may be. And then we had an ultrasound, and that's where it was like, wait a minute, this baby is small. For 20 weeks, you're 20 weeks along, the baby's half the size that he should be. And it is a boy, so half the size. And your placenta looks funky. She literally said it was a funky looking placenta, which you don't really hear doctors using descriptive words like that, but that was the word that she chose to use. And that was the culprit we ultimately, you know, found out. So that same day I ended up having, oh shoot, I can't even think about it. They test the amniotic fluid. So they put something through my belly to take out some amniotic fluid so they could test it. I'll think of the name and I'll write it in the description or on the screen here. And just to test, see if there's anything that it can tell us about what's going on with my baby. So that was at 20 weeks. 2 weeks had passed, 22 weeks, we go meet her again to check the progress of the baby and see what's going on. We learn amniotic fluid is okay, there's no genetic issue. What's wrong with our baby? At that doctor appointment, I'm 22 weeks along, guys, and to give you a really good picture of this, in the state of California, at least, you have up to 24 weeks to determine if, like for a viable pregnancy, I think it's 24 weeks. After that, like you can have an abortion up until 24 weeks, or at least a termination, if you will, at 24 weeks. So I'm 22 weeks. And at that visit, the doctor determines, in her opinion, the baby was not growing. The baby's not gonna make it. The baby will not survive birth. The baby will not, just won't make it at all. There was no good option that came from that doctor. And you know, there's not anything good when you finish the appointment and she's like, yeah, let's go in my office. I'll meet you guys. Get dressed. I'll meet you in my office after that. So me and my husband are looking at each other like, what is going on? Now, when we first found out that the baby was small and there was an issue, we were already emotionally like hurt, because we were like, you know, what's going on? We had so many questions. You know, I think it was just like our feelings were really hurt. We were really scared, trying to figure out what was wrong. So now at 22 weeks, we go into this doctor's office and she tells us our baby's not gonna make it and we need to make a choice to terminate this pregnancy. She thinks that we should, but she was gonna give us the weekend to think about, you know, terminating our pregnancy. And you might see me smiling through this video. I think that we've overcome a great deal, and I do have a miracle baby. So I can say this story with a smile, with joy in my heart. Although that was a really difficult time to get through, I got through it. So if you see me smiling, or like, how can she tell this story and she's fine and she's drinking her lemonade from a coffee cup and whatever. No, I made peace. We've come a long way. Because this was 2 years ago. That baby, my miracle child, is 2 years old. So anyways, back to the story. We're in our office. She's telling us, you know, all these things we don't want to hear. And she's like, you know, you'll have the weekend to decide, but you still need to make the termination appointment, because that office gets full. And if you go past 24 weeks, you'll have to give birth to this baby. I can no longer have a termination. I would have to deliver a baby no matter what would happen. Oh man. Sips lemonade. We left that appointment. I walked, as soon as those office doors closed behind me, I just bawled. I said, you know, we were ready to have a baby. We prayed for this baby. I just cried. Everything in me it failed. And my husband's just, he's sad. He's not crying yet, but he's just consoling me. And we get in the car and we're like, we gotta tell our parents. We didn't even wait to like see them in person. We call each set of parents, one after another, driving, and we're so emotional. We're both crying at this point. We have to pull over. We're telling our parents, the doctor said our baby's not gonna make it. The baby's small. This is what happened. You know, this is what's going on. And even though we knew the baby was small, the doctor never gave us a name for it. So now what we know now is IUGR. My doula, which I didn't have a doula at the time for this baby, but my doula, who was my doula for my last pregnancy and one of my very close friends, she was the one to look it up and tell us, like, I think this is what it is. Ask your doctor if this is what it is. So anyways, we'll get to that too. So we're bawling. My OB, by the time we get home, my OB calls. She's like, I'm so sorry. I want you to get a second opinion. Okay, yeah, sure. We call another doctor, another amazing doctor here in Los Angeles, who's a high-risk doctor. Maternal fetal medicine doctors are what they're called, these high-risk doctors. And we call and make an appointment, and they're like, okay, we can't fit you in for 2 weeks. I think it was like a week and a half, 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh, 2 weeks? We don't have that kind of time. You know, they want us to, this lady wants us to make a decision on terminating, and you know, it was just a frazzled few weeks. So we made that appointment, and in the meantime, I did have to call, and I literally called crying the very next Monday. The very next, I think this was like on a Friday, we found out this bad news. By Monday, I had to call and make this appointment, and I was immediately also put on bed rest, like immediately put on like no work. You need to like concentrate on keeping this baby alive. So all this is happening. If I'm jumping around, I'm sorry. I'm trying to go in order as best as I can, but I want to give you guys like all the little details of the story. So I had to call the hospital and make the DNC, or the termination appointment. And I literally cried calling them, because I had to make it no matter what, so that just in case we decided to terminate the baby, we'd have an appointment. And I made that appointment, and the weekend's over, and we're like, we're getting a second opinion. We're not deciding right now. So we didn't. I prayed every day. Our family prayed, our friends prayed, the select friends that we decided to tell, up into those 2 weeks. And then we finally get to our second opinion appointment. And there was like a little bit of growth. I'm talking like 0.7 ounces or 0.7 of an ounce or something like that. A little bit of growth with this baby. And so that was all we needed. We said, the baby's still growing. The baby has not stopped growing like this other doctor said. Do you think we have a chance? And that doctor told us he would do everything in his power to get our baby earthside. So we said that was it. No matter what, we're making peace. If this baby doesn't make it, we'll figure it out and make peace with it. If this baby does make it, we'll figure out and make peace with it. So what we knew now at 22 weeks with an IUGR very small baby who is half the size that he's supposed to be, we know that we are going to go to the doctor and get checked as often as they tell us. I'm going to, you know, pray. I'm going to eat right. I'm going to lay down on my left side 20 minutes at a time every single day. However the doctor tells me to do any and everything that I'm going to do, we did it. We did it. By the end of my pregnancy, the baby was still growing, albeit small. The baby was still growing. I was at the doctor 2 to 3 times a week, if not more, because they were monitoring growth. They're monitoring heart rate, heartbeat, and hooking me up to the no stress test twice a week, just to make sure that the baby was not in distress. And so that was a really trying time, because that took strength. It took, oh man, it just took confidence. It took like everything in you to say that no matter what the circumstance is, we're gonna keep going until they say we cannot keep going, and we have faith that this baby is gonna make it. And we prayed and we asked God, Lord, please just let our baby get here. All we needed was for our baby to get to 1 pound. The doctor said we can get to 1 pound. That baby, without a doubt, has a chance surviving in the NICU. 1 pound, that's all. And our baby was born 2 pounds, 6 ounces. Okay, 2 pounds, 6 ounces. So we were well over that 1 pound. We knew we'd have a NICU stay. We didn't know how long, so we prepared in our minds that once our baby was born, we'd be staying in the NICU from 3 months or longer. Our baby only ended up staying a month. And let me tell you how much of a miracle baby we had. And I'll probably make another video detailing like the birth and the NICU and all that. But he was a feeder grower. These babies are so strong, let me tell you. 2 pounds, 6 ounces, all he needed was to eat and grow in that NICU. Anyway, I could talk forever to y'all about this, but I just, be encouraged. That's my main thing that I want to do for y'all. Peace and love. Like this video, share it, subscribe to my channel. Bye.